Inspection Agency. And pardon us, as that was security. The radios were left on. Okay, please make sure the radios in this room are either completely silent or on low volume, please. Thank you. So we have CFIA, next royal decree, number 12. Okay. And excuse me, I'm just going to stand up because this heater here is not serving anyone except my desk. Okay, pardon me.
Julia Hickson,
Elise, you wanted to speak? Okay. So one moment, Her Excellency Lise Bo also would like to speak to the CDC Royal Decree number 11. Which one? Oh, this one. Oh, pardon me. This was the Canadian Food Inspection Agencies you'd like to speak to. Okay, so you're on the list of speakers. All right, who was first?
Her Excellency Julia Hickson.
Okay. Her Excellency Julia.
Thank you. In regard to, is this for number 11 or for number 12?
Number 12, that's the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Number
Yes.
12.
This particular agency has also been a marketing arm for corporations that have been in not ensuring that our health is of a priority in terms of food. The inspection agency, we have learned that there have been quite a few, even if you look at whole milk, for example, and the additives that they do to milk. These guidelines have not been in the best interests of we the people and their well-being. And they have partnered with, I believe, members of the cabal that have worked to ensure that our food is not optimum, is not nutritious. There were many additives, and they've not been working in the best interests of the people. So again, it's a marketing arm for these large food corporations and giving people inaccurate advice and direction. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Thank you, Your Excellency. His Excellency Herbert Cerami.
Grand Rising, all
Grand
ages, and HRM Queen Romana the First on this event platform we are in. The cabal corporate government have ensured that they use Canada corporate government to authorize all these poisons and all these diseases to the European Union countries. Now, under Queen HRM Queen Romana the First, we will be able to plant our own food. We'll be able to plant our own crops without waiting for their crops from the industries. Now, in that instance, Queen Romana have give us a solution because of, if you look, it's Canada with Canada, where we're rectifying the authorization of now making Canada a bad state. They made it to cooperate with the pharmaceuticals. They make it to inspire doctors, drug dealers to move this mandate. Now, this royal degree of food inspection should be done and imminently. I thank you.
Her Excellency Valley.
On QRTRV News, not too long ago, we were told that whoever controls the food controls the people. So it's good that the Canadian Food four-letter agency here, Canada Food Inspection Agency, has been prohibited from issuing public health guidelines for us. And the end for the old system. This is the end for the old system. Food, this is their last way to control us. When they control our food, that's everything. That's controlling the whole person. And they had controlled us from cradle to grave. And we know now there's a new sheriff in town, HRM QRD1, which means it's Her Royal Majesty Queen Romana Didulo I, the real boss. And this is a fact. And I just want to say that if the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, this four-letter agency, had really been doing a good job, a conscionable job based on truth, they would have and should have disclosed the dangers of all the pesticides that came out of Bill Gates' Monsanto. And but instead, there was a system to force farmers to use these pesticides. And if they were so conscionable in doing the right thing, which they were not, they were poisoning us, there would be zero human meat found in restaurant burgers. There would be zero insects found in packaged foods in our supermarkets. There would be zero toxic chemicals and preservatives in our food that we buy at the supermarket. And again, there would be zero GMO foods that we buy and we don't even know they're GMO foods. And here's a little incident to prove how brainwashed the people are. I've got a beautiful cherry tree in my backyard. And when my nephew was, this is going back maybe 10 years ago, maybe longer, when he was in his late teens, I told him that I have organic cherries that I want to give him. And I was going to pick them for him. And I was bragging, there are no pesticides. I don't use insecticides on my cherries. And wow, I could hear it. My ears were burning over the phone. No, I could hear it. You don't use insecticides? How can you eat those cherries? So that's how brainwashed people are. They don't even know the dangers of pesticides. So thank you, Your Royal Majesty, for prohibiting the CFIA from issuing health guidelines that endanger our lives. Thank you, Your Royal Majesty.
You're welcome.
His Excellency Michael Richard Hawkins.
Thank you, everyone. Additionally, you know, we see the British Columbia ostrich farm in Edgewood, BC being propagandized in the media, and agents are showing up on the farm and threatening to cull all the birds on the farm. And as Her Royal Majesty stated on her main channel, and you don't remove the entire population when you have a couple of sick birds. I mean, this is how crazy this situation has gotten. And it's being propagandized in the media. And I'll relate it to when COVID was happening, you know, everyone was out raising money for legal fees. And there was a certain group, and I won't mention any names, that raised over $1 million for legal fees and ended up dropping their case. And they never returned the money to the people that contributed to their legal case. And what we're seeing here is now asking Canadians and people around the world to fund a legal case to protect the birds. Well, it seems it's just plain common sense to serve your cease and desist orders, to embrace your royal decrees. The right to public-private accommodation does not get wiped to the wayside because a third party shows up at your door and says, we want to do this and we want to do that. I think the reason why is because ostrich eggs and this farm has done a great deal of work in advanced medicines. You know, ostrich eggs can be used to control digestive enzymes and block the absorption of sugars and fats from daily food consumption, potentially aiding in weight loss. There's studies that show that can create solutions for hair loss. All kinds of great things can come from these animals. And I think this is why we're seeing them under attack, because it takes away, it's a threat to the system of control. And this is why they're threatening the farm in Edgewood and elsewhere that are following natural medicines and farming rights that cannot be interfered with anywhere in the Kingdom of Canada. Yet here they're showing up at the door and demanding to take, you know, to cull these birds, which is just ridiculous. I would suggest the owners and their supporters embrace your royal decrees and serve cease and desist orders and let these third-party individuals know that you're not coming on this property. It's that simple. Thank you, Your Royal Majesty.
You're welcome. Also, I would like to speak to the this royal decree, Canadian Food Inspection Agency. I would like to remind those who may not be familiar with my royal decree or familiar with Queen Romana Didulo the First's work. What has been demonstrated by this agency repeatedly: number one, marketing; number two, as it was earlier mentioned, that you do not call an entire species just because one has a flu. Visualize an entire species, Homo sapiens, being called because one of us has a flu. Not only that, this agency is part and parcel of creating artificial creation of famine. Next, this agency is part and parcel of creating economic sabotage. Let us not be of any, let's not be confused. This is economic sabotage, not only to the owners, but also we the people who may be depending on buying the meat for that from that particular farm, or is the idea to slaughter the ostrich because one, it helps heal, it's a superfood, the egg, and two, to increase the price of the ostrich, to create shortage and increase price. Either way, whoever this agency who still continues to masquerade as someone from this agency, under natural law, and for those of you who were pushing common law, be it known that common law is now banned internationally. The only law there is natural law. So under natural law, you are creating artificial creation of famine, you're damaging the Kingdom of Canada's economy, the economy of that region. And you will be held to account, whoever's signature is on that piece of paper. The judges who are masquerading, the corporation judges masquerading as lawful courts, you have zero jurisdiction in the Kingdom of Canada under natural law. Okay, thank you. And who's next?
Her Excellency DIVINA.
Thank you. In principle, the food authorities operate in the same way as the health service. They don't do work for us, the people. Here it is the corporations that have certain interests and want to sell their harmful products. And at the end of the chain is the pharmaceutical industry. First, they make us sick with their products, then a creeping poisoning develops. But instead of medicine detoxifying us, pharma comes along with its remedies and pills and poison us even more. We don't need food authorities who don't do their jobs and allow heavy metals, toxins, human DNA, bugs and worms in food and simply look the other way because it's more lucrative for them. They allow harmful substances to be given false labels and names so that people first have to look up what the word actually means. Another useless institution less. Thank you, Your Majesty.
You're welcome. Okay, who's
Her
next?
Excellency Jane Lee.
Thank you, Your Royal Majesty. When I think about this royal decree, it's just as Her Excellency Sally Wong had talked about with the insects being put in our food, and the fact that this royal decree comes right after Her Royal Majesty's royal decree on the CDC and the pharmaceuticals, and how I view the attachment of pharmaceutical companies to that as well. When we think about those insects being placed into our foods, we have to think back as to where that push came from, and it was the World Economic Forum trying to push that globally. So again, it's elites' arms with foreign interference in affecting global populations through their 3 or 4 letter agencies in order to cause harm to the people and cause mass extinction to an event. And I think back to the quote from Bill Gates, where he had said, quote, "Depopulation through forced vaccination, the zero carbon solution," close quote. The food has been used as a food delivery system to conduct forced vaccinations. We know this because we have seen how these foods are now imitations. The lab-grown meat, the fake eggs, the fake rice. That was Missouri who had passed a law saying that if there was lettuce created with pharmaceutical cocktail ingredients in it, it had to be labeled with those items in there. So they're creating lettuce that has these potential for these vaccines and vaccinate the population through the disguise of food. Then you think back as to Bill Gates and the purchases of large farmlands to restrict the ability for ourselves to be self-reliant in creating viable, good, natural food that would actually heal us. And again, the investment into lab-grown meat. So this is, I know, it's just a culmination with a global conspiracy. It's global proven with all the elements placed in connection, and it's just on us to see these connections for what they are. And Royal Decree acts as that safeguard for the abuses of food technology for the masses, the involuntary medication or vaccination of the population, and it preserves individual rights and ensures the transparency and responds proactively to emerging technologies and the capabilities that could otherwise be exploited. without public knowledge or consent. I thank you, Your Royal Majesty.
You're welcome. Who's next? Your Excellency Lise?
Her Excellency Lee.
Your Excellency Lise.
Thank you very much. Now, to all we the people, what I'm thinking is the fact that where is all those 3-4 letters association was born? Now, in my family, I had a doctor specialist in food administration company for the government in Ottawa. So pretty young, we start to be aware of all the stuff. All those 3-4 letters are corporation. Who owns the corporation? And how come they were getting away for like 50, 60 years ago? How'd that happen? Because the people control food, trusted a nice government. They were supposed to protect us. Now, did they do that? How? How do you explain to somebody 50 years ago when Heinz baby sauce apple became, and they say, no, it's applesauce. Give me a break. How can you keep applesauce on the shelf of a store for 2 or 3 years without getting rotten? They use numbers, hide it from us on their product. That's how they get the control of we the people. That's why now we the people are getting up saying, hey, did they take care of us? No, they completely poison us all through those years. My uncle studied microwave. When that happened, I was about 8 years old. And then he came back in the family and said, if one of you have a microwave in your house, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. Microwave, he's killing you. It's pretending your food are cooked. They're not. They changed the molecule to it. How many years? I told my parents, don't use those. They're going to kill your health. And now we're starting to show and how long it took to wake up with the people. But now we're very aware of what's going on. Thank you so much for all the decree, and
welcome.
especially those. Thank you.
You're welcome. So all of these 3-4 letter agencies that began either from Europe or America, who were they serving? Definitely not the we the people. Also, who introduced? You see, these agencies here, you are able to lobby. So if you are a billionaire or a trillionaire, you can hand them a envelope. And when that money arrives, of course, or special favors, those at these agencies, what do you think they were going to do? And do you think the envelope didn't have a note to say, push this particular food, or remove this particular food from the food supply because it's too good for we the people, and substitute it with the artificial genetically modified food? As I said, you can buy experts. You can have white papers being written by experts with multiple PhDs or what have you. You just tell them, here's the, not all by the way, but here's the envelope. There's $1 million in there. Write me a paper that says eating bugs is good for the people. What do you think is the expert going to write? See, the challenge with the society is that they were easily bought. What was the purpose of all these? For example, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. This represents that we, the people, were not able to decide for themselves what's good for them to eat. So they needed to have these agencies to babysit the public. The same thing with CDC. So that kakistocracy has ended. Because now you'll be facing the crimes against humanity, economic sabotage charges, and artificial creation of famine if you continue to practice that garbage in the Kingdom of Canada. Who's next? Was that Lise? That was the last speaker.
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. Her Excellency Sally Wong, and then we will go to Royal Decree number 13.
Someone can say this better than me, but all the food companies that provide food for the supermarket shelves, it's owned by a very small number of companies. I think it's something like 20. I'm not sure. But of course, they would have a 4-letter agency like this Canadian Food Inspection to help them market their stuff.
All right.
Thank you.
And even when you go to the grocery store, guess what? Those who have their products, wanting to have their products to be displayed by the grocery store, don't you think they're giving incentive to the grocery store owners to display their products, not only at the bottom, but at the eye level so that everyone can see it? I know, it's scary. Her Royal Majesty Queen Romana Didulo knows all of this kakistocracy. This is how I'm able to detangle all of the carefully intricate weaving of the manipulation of the public. This is why we have we the people of the Kingdom of Canada having their very own grocery stores. And you will find, you will not find, by the way, anything that's harmful to the children there. So to the children, when you walk into the, where we go all stores, you will not find poisoned chocolate in there. Okay, who's next?
I believe that's what provide
Okay.
Royal Decree, Your Majesty.
All right, so we will go to, thank you everyone who spoke to that Royal Decree. We will go to Royal Decree number 13.